The humid summer air of Seoul hit Taehyung the moment he stepped out of Incheon International Airport. It smelled of ozone, warm asphalt, and roasted corn, a scent so deeply familiar that his eyes pricked with sudden tears. 5 years, 5 long, agonizing years of hospital corridors, sterile rooms, grueling surgeries, and lonely nights. Mama, a small, tugging weight at his hand brought Taehyung back to the present. He looked down into a pair of large, round, dark eyes staring up at him with wide-eyed wonder. 5-year-old Cookie was clutching his favorite plush bunny under one arm while pulling at Taehyung's coat sleeve with the other. He wore a tiny yellow backpack, his dark bangs brushed neatly across his forehead, looking like an exact miniature replica of the man Taehyung had left behind. "Yes, my sweet boy," Taehyung murmured, kneeling down to adjust the little boy's collar and smoothing his hair. "Is this the place with the big towers you talked about?" Cookie asked softly, his little voice filled with awe as he looked around at the buzzing crowd and towering glass terminal. "Yes, honey, this is home," Taehyung whispered, the word tasting strange yet sweet on his tongue. He gently kissed Cookie's forehead. "We're home." Taehyung checked into a modest hotel near the city center, unpacking their small suit of belongings. His hands trembled as he arranged Cookie's little clothes in the drawer. For 5 years he had survived on a singular hope that one day he would return, fully cured, and explain everything to Jungkook. He had dreamed of the moment he could fall into Jungkook's arms, beg for forgiveness for the cruel lie he had been forced to tell, and introduce him to the beautiful, innocent son they shared. But as the moment drew near, a suffocating knot of anxiety tightened in his throat. What if Jungkook still hated him? What if the wounds Taehyung had inflicted 5 years ago were too deep to ever heal? The next afternoon, leaving Cookie briefly in the care of a trusted hotel nanny service, Taehyung made his way toward the district where his life with Jungkook used to unfold. He wore a quiet beige trench coat and a light mask, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird with every step he took. He walked past their old apartment building first. The modest flat was occupied by strangers now. Colorful curtains hung in the windows where their simple linen shades used to be. Taehyung pressed a hand against his chest, swallowing back the lump in his throat, and walked toward the commercial district nearby. Over the past few days, through cautious online searches, Taehyung had discovered that Jungkook had not only survived his past heartbreak, he had thrived. The small business proposal Jungkook had wept over on that devastating night had become a soaring reality. Geon Innovations, a sleek technology and design firm, was now a celebrated rising star in the city's commercial district. Standing across the wide avenue from the glistening glass headquarters of Geon Innovations, Taehyung's eyes welled with proud tears. "You did it, Cook," he thought softly. "You proved everyone wrong. You built your dream." He crossed the street and walked up the steps, stepping into the grand glass lobby. He didn't intend to make a scene. He simply wanted to ask the front desk if there was any chance he could see Jungkook, even for a brief moment. "Excuse me," Taehyung said softly to the young receptionist behind the counter, pulling down his mask slightly. "I'm looking for Mr. John Jungkook. Is he in the building today?" The receptionist looked up, smiling politely. "Mr. John is currently ending a meeting on the ground level courtyard. If you don't have an appointment, I can—" "It's all right, thank you," Taehyung murmured quickly, his voice catching in his throat. "Courtyard? Just through those double glass doors to the right, sir." Taehyung's legs moved almost on instinct. His heart beat so loudly he was certain people passing by could hear it. With every step toward the glass doors leading into the sunlit outdoor courtyard, 5 years of longing, grief, and hidden love rushed through his veins. He reached the heavy glass doors and pushed them open just enough to peer into the garden. The sun was bright, casting a warm golden glow over the stone path and flower beds. And there he was. Jungkook was standing near a marble fountain. He had matured breathtakingly over 5 years. His shoulders were broader, his jawline more defined, and he wore a sharp, tailored black suit, that gave him an air of confidence and quiet authority. He looked healthy, successful, and striking. Taehyung's breath hitched. Jungkook. Taehyung took a step forward, his lips parting to call out the name he had whispered into the dark for 5 long years. But before the sound could leave his throat, a light, musical laugh echoed across the courtyard. A beautiful woman in an elegant cream colored dress stepped into view beside Jungkook. She was carrying a stack of leather folders, her smile radiant and warm as she looked up at Jungkook. Taehyung recognized her instantly. Kim Yoo-jung. She was Jungkook's childhood friend, a sweet, bright girl who had always been fond of him since their school days. As Taehyung watched from behind the frame of the door, Yoo-jung reached up with a soft smile and gently brushed a stray lock of hair away from Jungkook's eyes. Jungkook didn't pull away. Instead, he smiled down at her, a soft, gentle, comfortable smile that reached his eyes. He reached over, lightly patting her hand, and laughed at something she whispered to him. The tenderness between them was undeniable, wrapped in an easy, intimate familiarity built over years of shared daily life. Taehyung froze. The world around him seemed to lose all its color, draining into a cold, stark grey. The hand Taehyung had pressed against the glass door trembled violently. He watched them stand together under the golden sunlight, looking so perfectly matched, so naturally comfortable, so happy. The hand Taehyung had pressed against the glass door trembled violently. He watched them stand together under the golden sunlight, looking so perfectly matched, so naturally comfortable, so happy. He moved on. The voice inside Taehyung's head whispered, sharp and merciless as a razor blade. He healed. You broke his heart, you made him hate you, and he found someone who could give him the peace and happiness you stole from him. Taehyung stumbled back a step, his chest heaving as a wave of unbearable agony crashed over him. If he walked out there now, if he revealed his survival, his illness, and the existence of Cookie, what would happen? He would shatter the peaceful, beautiful life Jungkook had fought so hard to rebuild. He would force Jungkook into a life of guilt, confusion, and torn loyalty. He would ruin the happiness Jungkook deserved more than anyone in the world. No, Taehyung whispered to himself, his voice cracking with raw, unadulterated grief. I can't do that to him. I can't ruin his happiness twice. I made my choice 5 years ago, Taehyung thought, hot, blinding tears streaming silently down his cheeks. I sacrificed my place beside him so he could live and thrive. I can't tear down his happiness now just because I'm selfish. Taehyung turned his back on the courtyard. He pulled his mask back over his face, hugging his coat tightly around his shivering body, and practically ran through the lobby, fleeing out into the noisy city streets. He walked blindly through the crowded sidewalks until he reached a quiet park near his hotel. Sinking onto a wooden bench beneath a weeping willow tree, Taehyung buried his face in his hands and wept quietly, his chest breaking with a grief deeper than any pain he had suffered in the hospital ward. He made a silent, sacred vow. He would raise Cookie alone in their quiet little apartment in Mapogu, loving his son with everything he had, while letting Jungkook live the bright, peaceful life he had fought so hard to build. Taehyung did not know that inside the black sedan 3 blocks away, Jungkook was staring blankly out the window at the passing streets, holding Taehyung's old napkin sketch inside his pocket, his heart completely closed to the world, unaware that the man he had mourned for 5 years had been standing just 60 feet away in the rain of falling leaves. When he finally returned to the hotel room, he wiped his face clean and forced a warm, gentle smile onto his lips before opening the door. Little Cookie ran up to him immediately, holding up a drawing of 3 stick figures standing under a bright yellow sun. Mama, look, I drew us. Taehyung sank to his knees and wrapped his arms tightly around his son, burying his nose in the soft scent of Cookie's hair. It's beautiful, sweetie, Taehyung choked out, pressing a long, tender kiss to Cookie's cheek. Where were we going to move, Mama? Cookie asked innocently, tilting his head. Are we going to live with Daddy now? Taehyung's heart shattered into a million tiny fragments, but he looked into his son's dark, beautiful eyes and smiled through the pain. No, my darling, Taehyung whispered softly, smoothing Cookie's hair back. We're going to live just the two of us, close by. Mama will be right here with you, always. He made his decision right then and there. He would stay in the city, find a small flat, raise Cookie with all the love in his heart, and keep his secret buried forever, watching over Jungkook's happiness only from afar. November arrived in Seoul with a sudden biting chill that stripped the last golden leaves from the trees, replacing the soft autumn air with the sharp, crisp promise of early winter. For Taehyung, life had contracted into a small, quiet circle. His freelance illustration work, his small kitchen, and the joyful noise of little Cookie returning home from kindergarten every afternoon. He strictly avoided the district of Gangnam, steering clear of any area where he might inadvertently cross paths with Jungkook's corporate world. Fate, however, has a way of laughing at the most carefully constructed secrets. It was a chilly Saturday morning. The skies over Mapogu were overcast, dusting the pavement with a faint, microscopic frost. Taehyung had taken Cookie to a large children's bookstore, an interactive community center located near a bustling commercial complex. Inside the bright, warm bookstore, 5-year-old Cookie was in absolute paradise. Dressed in a soft blue padded winter jacket, dark trousers, and a bright yellow knitted beanie with tiny bear ears, the boy bounced from one low bookshelf to another, pointing at colorful picture books with wide, glittering eyes. Appa, look! Cookie gasped softly, standing on his tiptoes to pull a thick hardback book about train engines off a middle shelf. It has the big silver train with the blue stripes. Taehyung, standing a few feet away near the art section, turned and smiled warmly. The sight of his son's joy was a constant salve to the quiet, lingering ache in his chest. Careful, Kukia, Taeyang said gently, stepping over to help him balance the heavy book. Let's take it over to the small reading table near the window. Okay, Cookie chimed, clutching the heavy book against his chest like a prized treasure. As Cookie skipped toward the children's reading nook, Taeyang's phone vibrated in his coat pocket. He pulled it out to see an urgent email notification from his publishing editor regarding an upcoming book layout deadline. Cookie, sit at the small round table right there, okay? Taehyung pointed to a low wooden table surrounded by primary colored cushions just 10 feet away. Appa needs to answer a quick message right here. Don't go outside. I won't, Appa. Cookie called out dutifully, clambering onto a bright red cushion and opening his train book with immense concentration. Taehyung stepped slightly around the end-cap display of the art section to type a quick response on his phone, keeping his ears tuned to the cheerful babble of the children's corner. At that exact moment, on the outer concourse of the building, a sleek black town car pulled up to the curb. Jungkook stepped out into the brisk November wind, pulling his dark cashmere coat tight against his tailored charcoal suit. Beside him, an executive project manager was speaking quickly while gesturing toward blueprints for a massive commercial development site 2 blocks away. Jungkook had spent 3 hours inspecting cold steel foundations. His throat was dry, his head was aching with the familiar dull fatigue that had accompanied him for 5 long years, and his mind was thoroughly exhausted. Mr. Gion, the city planning committee meeting starts at 1 o'clock, his manager noted, checking his watch. We have 40 minutes. Should we grab coffee in the lobby cafe? Jungkook glanced at the large glass entrance of the building. Go ahead and get us 2 warm coffees. I'll step inside out of the wind for a moment.